Superintendent of Fairfield County Educational Service Center, and I am thrilled to introduce you to Fairfield Union's Outdoor Lab. This grant provided a little over $1 million to expand the number of outdoor labs in Ohio. It provides the opportunity for teachers to be prepared to design transdisciplinary problem-based learning experiences for students that integrates all the disciplines, including math, science, language arts, history, technology, etc. This grant also encourages school districts to engage their communities, to leverage additional funding, expertise, and resources that can help to expand and develop further what the grant funding and school individuals can develop on their own.
When we first heard about the growing soil opportunity and the grants through the ESC, we were just so excited. I was so excited for the district because I knew we already had the land lab, and being given that opportunity to invest and to revitalize our land lab project with this grant opportunity, it was perfect. It was perfect timing for us as a district. So we were real excited when the opportunity was afforded to us, and it really gave us an opportunity to expand upon and to revitalize our land lab project. And we've identified a wonderful group of teachers, and we now have outside participants and involvement, and it's just been so exciting for the students, for the staff to be involved, the projects that we can do, and it just really was great for us to be able to add to and facilitate to what we currently already had was the land lab.
As a former student of Fairfield Union, I grew up in this land lab, and I grew to love it because of the teachers who brought me here and the love that they had for that. And because of what they instilled in me, I now want to take that love and pass it on to these kids. And we have a really unique opportunity here to do that. And one of those ways that I want to do that is by bringing out some higher level thinking. And the higher level thinking that I'm planning on, one of the aspects I'm planning on, is for them to make predictions about what our land lab will look like in 10 years. So their activity, their project will be to make a futuristic map that is our land lab 10 years from now. In order to do that, they're going to need to go back. So they're going to have to go and look at past maps, topographic maps, aerial photographs, looking at GPS waypoints. And from that, they're going to look at the social aspect, the social sciences. What is the history of our land lab? They're going to be writing and researching, which will bring in our English and language arts. We look at math, we can be graphing and plotting. And as we do this, we bring in all of our curriculum. So when we do this cross curriculum, we'll bring in that science, and then we'll really look at that principle of uniformitarianism. And by that, that process says that the processes that shaped our earth over millions of years are the same processes that are happening today. So if we take those concepts and we make a prediction about what our land lab is going to be like, we're really taking our students to that higher level thinking, and we really have a unique way to get them there.
What I believe this grant has done for me personally, as someone that already uses the outdoor learning environment, is expanded upon what I can do with students. It's going to allow this to be more of an educational forum, a place where students, when they know they come back here, they're in the classroom. The new shelter house we're going to have, the revamped covered bridge. One of the things that people were real excited that I do with my students is we actually tap the maple trees back here for maple syrup. And it seems like one of those topics that students carry on lifetime. I've got students from 5 years ago that are calling me or texting me and asking, is this the right time to tap maple trees? So I'm glad that that's being carried on, and it's all while we're learning about tree physiology and the out of doors.
One of the things that Judd Baker we were able to do this year is maple syrup, and I was really excited because it was one of the things, I'm an outdoor person, and I've really always wanted to kind of do maple syrup. It's something my grandparents, no one really knew how to do in my family, and the opportunity came about in my industrial arts class. And my grandfather called me up the next day and he said, "Joe, my entire life I've never known how to do that, but I really enjoyed doing that with you." And he says, "I'm glad that your teacher and your school is letting you be able to go out in this rural area and really get a hands-on experience of learning. So, you know, I really feel like it's really good teaching out here. You know, there's stuff out here you can't learn in the classroom, you know. It's all hands-on. It's a really good experience.
Probably for the last 15 years or so, we have been coming back to the land lab and using it in the fall with our students. However, over the years, the land lab has become very, very hard to use as far as the trails and different things. The high school and junior high were nice enough to include us in on the grant as well as the money and give ideas to help with the grant as well. Some of the things we plan on doing to incorporate the elementaries is setting up trail cams, and hopefully with the assistance of our technology coordinator and Hocking College, we are going to put live feeds into the elementaries so the kids can actually view what is happening up here via the computer and using our smart boards in our classroom. So we're hoping with this kinds of access and bringing up the kids maybe 1 or 2 times a year, we'll be able to show the kids what the land lab is about, so when they do get to the junior high and high school, it'll be more beneficial for them.
A pretty nice opportunity here to expand our environmental science class in particular. One of the things we're looking into is a lot of water and soil testing materials. Having a couple of ponds back here at various levels of succession is a pretty nice opportunity, especially when we have a new retention pond out in front of the school to compare it to, and can look at various pollutants and other environmental factors that could impact those.
Fairfield Union has been blessed with a lot of community support over the years. You look way back to when the school first started, all the help that was involved in building the track, building the athletic buildings, the sports facilities. When you look at football, baseball, basketball, the band, the community that follows those teams and supports them very well has been outstanding. You'll be hard pressed to find any schools in the state excuse me, that do that well. As far as the land lab is concerned, the school has had a great history back here in the land lab with the community. In the 70s, in the 80s, even up into the early 90s, there was a strong young farmer group that held town and country day truck and tractor pulls. The fire departments in the local community were out here and they would have firemen's festivals. And it was always a great time to bring the community out. I still run into a lot of friends and people that have talked about this and say, hey, do you remember back when we were back in the school at the tractor pull? Do you remember the pork chops that we had? And there was always things going on here in the land lab. So I hope that the reason we're doing this, we've got great people on our committee, great support. The reason we're doing this is we need to generate funds to develop this land lab, this outdoor learning environment, so that the educational money stays with the education, with the students, and then to get an awareness of the community of those that have not been involved in the past 25 years of what's back here and what we can do to continue to keep them coming back to help support and maintain this wonderful facility.
The Fairfield Soil and Water Conservation District has been working with the Fairfield Union Schools since well before the construction of the new buildings in 1960. Our office began the process in 1961 with developing the new pond that you see back behind me. During our time working with the Fairfield Union community, we've been able to rally efforts across the board when it comes to the science classes, biology, FFA, young farmers, as well as the conservationists around this community. We're privileged to work with a great group of people here in our community. They've been front runners when it comes to conservation efforts. They've been working long and hard when it comes to flooding concerns of the Rush Creek Conservancy, as well as we got a lot of great folks right now that have begun efforts for farmland preservation. So we're hoping that the next generation of outdoor learning environment and land lab development will continue a legacy with our office well into the future. Our role will be working with the invasive plant communities here and trying to reduce their numbers so that our natural environment can prosper, as well as providing educational opportunities wherever the district requires them.
In 1978, the Rush Creek Conservancy District was planning the lake there northeast of Rushville, and it was going to involve cutting off Rush Creek, and there was a covered bridge there, the R.F. Baker Bridge. things evolved in August, I believe the 25th, they started to move the bridge, and they started moving it. Had a flat tire when they started, so on the 26th of August in 1981, why they got to moving the bridge and got it all the way to the school grounds. And the FFA involvement in the VOAG classes, of course, we had to prepare the site where they're going to put the bridge back here. That took some things. And then we had a Building Our High Communities grant, and we put that money into the foundations, and FFA did that. I guess the bridge was built in 1871 originally, and of course it ends up here now.
Well, this bridge has been part of the school for many, many years, and it's a great asset. Most schools don't have this kind of an asset, and it's in disrepair. And if we don't save it now, there will be no saving of it.
I'm glad to be able to help with the project here, redoing the ponds. What we're going to do is take a lot of the trees out around the pond, pump them down, muck them out, and we're going to build a pad for a study center for the school. And the ponds were built originally in 1963, and we assume they have about 4 feet of muck in them, and I'm just happy to be able to help with the project.
I was involved in the land lab in several different ways. I used to take classes out to the land lab for primarily freshman classes for tree identification. And we would go around the trails and gather leaves and do what you do to learn to identify trees. I used to conduct elementary students on nature hikes, and that was a lot of fun and very educational for me, and I hope also the students and the parents who were escorting those kids or chaperoning them. In fact, we would use the shelter house as, we'd take a group back there and use the shelter house as kind of a staging area. And then we would walk the trails and end up back at the shelter house and review what we'd seen, what they'd learned. And that shelter house is very useful for that in those situations.
Part of the plans we have for the soil grant project is to construct a new shelter house for like an outdoor learning classroom that we place back here by our ponds. It'll be more accessible for all students to use. Looking at a 24 by 40 foot structure with picnic tables, and have seating for roughly 64 students, and plus have some storage area in there as well for equipment and things for outdoor learning.
Historically, the Land Lab has been a great resource for students and community members, but we've never been able to fully utilize and gain all benefit from it. The opportunity that presents itself now is one that could open up many new possibilities for use of the Land Lab facility and the outdoor educational program. Historically, there are 3 trails that were developed here on the Land Lab that date back to the time of the consolidation, and with the development through the agriculture program and our industrial arts program, it brought students from around the district in for educational purposes, recreational purposes, and also for recreational purposes as well. 2 of those 3 trails still exist and have been remarked recently for use by students and the community, and a 3rd trail has recently been in the process of development. The first 2 trails that were remarked within the last year and a half are a red and a white trail, and are located just south of the Baker Covered Bridge. And the 3rd trail actually will be an entry point southwest of the Baker Covered Bridge and loop through the wooded area to the rear of the school. All three of these trails give remarkable opportunities for students in our science department, our vocational agriculture department, the industrial arts and industrial technology focus, as well as for our residents to walk through and enjoy nature at its finest. We hope that this project will do a lot to develop what we believe can be one of the finest land lab facilities in Central Ohio.
One of the things I was in charge of, or subcommittee, was the trail building, and it was the perimeter trail. We wanted to add a trail as close to the perimeter as we could get it, and use that for the academic side of things. They could look at the trees and all the just nature in general. But coming from a coaching standpoint, I was really excited as well for the athletic side of things. And I thought, wow, what a great opportunity. We have all this land and we can use that for athletics as well. And I can keep my kids off of the roads and the hard surfaces, and we can get out into the trails and into nature and kind of just get out there and run.
I'm Jess Wade, and as a cross-country and track runner, I completely enjoy the land lab. It involves plenty of trail running, and it's perfect for getting off of the hard concrete out front. Improving the land lab will greatly affect the running programs because this is where we spend most of our time. Between running trail runs together or just trying, like I said before, trying to stay off the rough road. Once this land lab is improved, it'll actually prevent us from running out on the roads as much, which would help with traffic and preventing anyone getting hit. I know that was always an issue, is they always were worried about all the cars and the traffic and us running on the solid ground. The cross-country and track program is growing tremendously, and having more trails to run will help it grow even more and improve our success that we've been having. So, like I said, the cross-country and track program would completely benefit from the grant because we need it. We need more places to run, more times to experience the great outdoors.
The Fairfield Union Land Lab has got a rich history. There are not very many schools throughout the state that have a land lab such as ours. And for us to look at this land lab as an educational tool, also from the community point of view as a asset to the community, and also for all the extracurriculars that could be using it. Over the years, the funding has not been available, and we are at this time trying to raise money to improve the land lab. I know from a personal point of view, as a student when we were here, we came back and planted trees. Then as a board member, we used the land lab quite a bit in different school activities. And then also as a teacher, we used the land lab extensively back when I was teaching as well. At this time, the cross-country team has been running the trails, and a lot of people have been coming out in the community, people from the community, and walking and jogging on the trails. There's so many other possibilities that we could use the land lab for, and I think this is a very, very good project to bring to the community and to get the community involved in and helping to raise funds so that we can continue with one of the great assets that we have here at Fairfield Union.
On behalf of the school board, we like to make the public aware that all of the improvements to the land lab that we plan to make are going to be funded through private donations, not any public dollars. We'd also like the public to be aware that we do have an overall land management plan that we're working on. We worked with the Fairfield Soil and Water, who provide us with a forester free of charge, who came out, analyzed all the acreage we have in the land lab, broke it down into smaller chunks for us, recognized maybe some invasive species, and basically came up with a game plan of how to tackle each group of acreage, and probably working through our FFA and their students through a forestry program will probably tackle a little bit of that at a time over the course of the next probably 10 years or so. So we want to teach our students about good land management techniques. We want to be good stewards of the land and teach that to our students as well. So we do have an overall management plan for the land lab. It is 43 plus acres, so it's a lot of land that we need to look at and determine how we're going to use it effectively.
So when we received the soil grant, part of the stipulation was to involve community partners. So we put that call out. We got tons of help from community members, businesses, and that list continues to grow. And that's kind of the whole purpose of this, is we want to involve as many members of our community as possible.
I'm Kevin Kimmer, I'm the fundraising chairman for our outdoor learning facility. It's something that we're asking because of a great facility back there that we have. It's a $39,000 project. The $39,000 consists of $10,000 to renovate our covered bridge, $12,000 for our ponds, to clean up our ponds and to put them back to good use, $16,000 for our shelter house and parking lot, and then $1,000 for our new trails. This outdoor learning facility is going to be used by many people, not just the students, but also our community. This fundraising is of great need, and boy, we could sure use your help. Every dollar would be so helpful. If you would consider it, I sure would appreciate it.